Hello all, welcome to qvalidation.com. So today we are going to see how we can write custom Excel sheet read and write methods for Selenium WebDriver automation. So in our previous video we saw how we can write and read the Excel sheet data by using Apache POI by using Java language. Move a step ahead to create certain custom methods for our Selenium WebDriver automation, because if you see this particular code, it doesn't look to be fit into a Selenium automation framework. Okay, so we have to write a specific functionality. So let's say that Excel sheet read, so we can create a custom method just to read the data and another method just to write the data. Okay, so which will make easier to access the data from the Excel sheet. Okay, so if you go to the Excel sheet, we had entered certain data, so let's check if we have any data into the Excel sheet or not. So let's open that Excel sheet. Okay, great. So if you can see, we have certain data and that should be enough to get started with. Okay, so let's flip to Eclipse and let's do certain modifications into this. Now, as I told, we are going to write certain custom methods, so we don't need a main method because we are not going to run this code from here, rather we can run this code from different class. Okay, so let's delete this. Okay, as I told, we don't need the main method, but for now, so what I can do, I can create, for time being, let's make it as let's comment it. Okay, let's write certain one method. And so basically what we did in this code, so we created one Excel sheet or we created one FIS object which will hold our required Excel sheet. So initially we are holding the Excel sheet, so where basically we are setting the Excel file. Okay, so let's give the method name as set Excel file, which basically tells us which file we need to act on. Okay, so for this we need certain parameters. One is Excel path, so basically where my Excel sheet is there, and then the second is my sheet name, which sheet number I'm working on, because in our previous tutorial we took the default, that is the sheet 1. Okay, but it might differ in your case, so let's make it as a dynamic instead of hard coding that. Okay, and so here what we can do, we can create one file object. Okay, and which will hold my Excel sheet path. Okay, so let's go to here and that's it. Okay, now what we are going to do, so we will now check it if my Excel sheet is exist or not. So there is a method called as the file dot exist. Okay, so let's see if yes, we have some method called as file, and if it is not existing, then create a new file into that particular location where we are giving the Excel file. Done. Okay, so I guess it will throw an exception. Okay, so let's make it as a generic exception. Okay, and then so we can write a confirmation message by saying file not found, so creator, just for your confirmation. Okay, done. So we are done with the Excel sheet file, and the next thing, we will utilize our existing project. So here these all lines will remain same. Instead of hard coding this, what I can do, I can give directly this particular file, right? Okay, and then the rest thing will remain same, and the sheet name we can again put this one as a sheet name, so that whatever you will give into this sheet name, we are going to that particular sheet. Done. Now here what we are going to do, so let's say that this sheet doesn't exist in your Excel sheet. So what you can do, you can just write, I mean these are just to be on the safer side. Okay, so as such what we can do, we can check it if this sheet is null. Okay, so let's say this sheet is not exist in your Excel sheet. So what you are going to do, so what you can do, you can create a sheet into that, right? So wb dot, there should be something, yes. So what you are going to create a sheet with the sheet name you provided in the parameter. Great. Okay, done. Now what we can do, we can put all this block in a try catch block, so that let's say if you are getting any kind of exception, which we can catch it instead of ending the whole code, okay, or the execution. So just write something, and we are not going to do anything, rather we can just display that particular exception in case we are getting. Okay, so done, we're done with that. And let's give a curly brace, yes, so there should be a closing brace into this. Okay, so we are done with that. Fine. Now and let's, so we are done with the first method. Okay, there is some error, let's see what is that, and it's telling to complete the block statement. So here I missed a semicolon. Okay, so my first method is ready here. Okay, so what I did, I didn't do much, I just created a file. If the file is not found, then create it, that's it. And then I am utilizing the existing methods, and it just I added one more line because this is a dynamic sheet name, so there could be a possibility that the sheet name may not exist into the Excel sheet, so I'm just creating that, or creating that sheet. Okay, done. Okay, so you can see now once we set the Excel sheet or the Excel file, what we are going to do, so let's say that we can now we can write another method or a custom method to set certain value or to write into the Excel sheet. Okay, so I'm not going to touch this one, rather I can create another method called as, let's say that set cell data. Okay, and here now just think in this way, if you want to enter some value into the Excel sheet, what exactly you need into that. So basically you need the row, which column or this cell, and then what value you want to enter to this. So basically we need 3 parameters. Okay, so quickly the required text, and then int row, just give any, so I'm just writing as a row number and the column number. Okay, done. So now we can again the same thing, we can use our existing code instead of writing the same thing. So start with a try block. Okay, so here what we are going to do, so now here think of a scenario where you are trying to access a row and column data. So let's say, I mean if the data is there into that, or already the row is created, then you can enter the value, but we are entering a value, so it means that there is no value into that. It means that the row and column is not yet created. So let's check if the row is existing or not existing. If it is not existing, then create it the way we created the sheet name. Okay, so first thing is that row equal to, this row is not this row number, rather this row is my row object which I created here. Okay, so I'm holding that row with my required row number. Okay, so sh dot, and then I can say get row. Okay, and what exactly I need to give, so I need to give the row number here. Okay, so there could be a possibility, as we spoke, that the row may not be created by this time. So what you can do, the same way, check it. If the row is null, then you can create it by using the sheet object, and there should be something called as create row. Yes, I have with the row number, or with the specified row number. Fine, it's so simple. And once we are created with the row, the next thing is that to check for the cell. Now cell, how we can check it? So we are not going to use the sheet object, because from sheet we already got the row. Now from the row directly we can go to the, and this should be my column number, right? Now here again the same thing, there could be a possibility this cell may not be created by this time. So what we can do, so cell, so let's say that if the cell is already exist, so what we can do, directly we can set the value, right? Set cell value, this should be something called as set cell value. Okay, so here what I need to enter, my text I need to enter there, or whatever the string I'm trying to enter into the Excel sheet. Fine, let's say if my cell is not yet created, so it might throw you an error. So what I can do, cell equal to row dot create cell. Okay, create cell with the column number. Okay, once I'm done with that, sorry, then I can utilize this particular method. Fine. Okay, so once I enter the data into that, what I need to do, I need to use the FOS object, right, which we already used that in our previous tutorial. So very quickly copy this code. Okay, and yes, where is my, and this is my method, right? Okay, this is under try block, so within this write it. Okay, fine then, and here we are going to give the Excel file path. What is that? Excel path. Oh, we are not getting. Okay, so what we can do, we can create a public or a global variable as a string Excel. So what I can do, create a global variable here. So private static, and this should be my string, right? And here what I can do, I can keep it. Okay, fine. And now what I can do, now there should not be an error showing here. Yes, okay then. Okay, so this Excel path will be provided at the time you are setting the Excel file. So how the process will be, so initially you set the Excel file with these parameters, and then you set cell the, or you set the cell value. Fine, and I guess we need a catch block here, so quickly add a catch block exception E, and then just print it to see what is the Excel or the exception error. Okay, I think we are done. Yes, done, that much. So you are clear with this, and then so now let's talk about a scenario where you want to read the data, or you want to read a particular cell. So it's the same thing, so we need to fetch the data from the particular row number and the column number. So here we can, again the same thing, we can use our existing method that is called as the get cell or get string cell value. Okay, so it's basically to get the data from the Excel sheet. Now quickly create one more method, public static void, and then here I can give get cell what you can, yes, anything which is feasible for you. And here it's the same thing, int or the column number to maintain consistency to our previous method. Okay, so here again I can create a try block. Okay, so here what I need to do, so basically I need to check if that particular get row, let's see if we have something, yes, get row with the row number, and then dot get cell, yes, we have done. Now so what I am now holding this cell, so I now got the exact what you call this cell from where I want to get the data. Okay, so now here's something we need to know. So there could be a scenario, whatever value I am getting, that could be a string, that could be an integer or a numeric. So now, I mean, in most of the cases we will have two kind of data from the Excel sheet. I mean, basically for the QA automation folks, one could be your string type or the another could be your numeric. Okay, so we will see how we can handle both these types. Okay, so for this let me create one local variable, let's say cell data. Okay, just give a null initially, and then we will assign some value into that. So as I told, we can have a possible what you call type of value. It could be string, numeric. Okay, so let's create a switch statement for that. So if you, and now get the cell type. Okay, get cell type, yes. Okay, so it will give you basically what kind of or the what is the type of the value you have there. Okay, so in this switch statement, what could be the possibilities? So one could be cell dot, you see here, you can see it could be blank, it could be boolean, it could be an error, it could be a formula or a numeric or a string. Now for this video, for timing, I'm going to show you the numeric and the string type. So let's talk about first the string. Okay, so let's say if it is a string value, then what you can do, you have the cell data, right, equal to cell dot, you have a specialized method for this, that is nothing but yours get string cell value. Okay, so once you're done with that, as usual, this is basically the switch statement syntax. Okay, once you got your particular data, then you can come out of the switch statement. But let's say that it's not a string, it could be your what you call numeric. Let's talk about, okay, so it could be numeric. Now in case of if it is a numeric, then what you can do, that so if you see if it is a numeric, you won't get the exact value from there. So let's say that in your Excel sheet the value is 123, so you might get it as 123.0 because it is trying to convert from the numeric to a string, right? Okay, so for that reason what we can do, so it's basically returning you a double value, that is 123.0. okay, for that what we can do, so we will get the value from there, so and we can convert it into a string. Okay, so let's say double dot, we have some method called as toString, and then we can get the value from there, get numeric cell value. Okay, and then so once we got the value, then we can break it. But before to that, as I told, there is dot zero appended into the end of your value, so which might lead to a comparison issue, right, where you are expecting a value should be 123, but actually you are getting 123.0. So what we can do, we can remove the extra dot zero from there. So we can write a small if condition. If my cell data is containing a contains 1.0, right? So dot 0, then what I can do, it's over 0, yes, it's 0, then I can remove that from there, from that required value, right? So what I can do, I can reassign the same thing. I can use a Java method that is substring, and then it's asking for a begin index that is starting from 0, and then what I can do, I can mention the length up to the total length minus 2, right? I will let you know why I'm doing that, length minus 2, because dot 0 is how many characters, dot is 1 and then 0 is 2, so I can omit the last 2 digits and I can start from 0 index, which I can assign to this particular cell data, right? So this way we can get the actual data, which could be same as the expected one. Okay, and then what I can do, so this is my if right here, so what I can do, I can break it. Okay, that is my switch statement. So once, or let's say we have we could be there could be a scenario where it could be blank, so let's even talk about that as well. Okay, so it's basically so simple, just assign the blank value into that, that's it. Okay, so that's all we have here. Okay, and then at the end what I need to do, this is who's one here, one. Okay, done. And this is my try block. I think this is extra I'm getting. Okay, so here another one. Now before to that, and what I can do, once I'm done with that, I can even create another break so that it can come out of the loop, and here at the end I can return the cell data. And if you see, we made it as a void, right? Instead of that, just make it as a string so that we can return that value at the end. Okay, and here, yes, and we can write a catch block as usual. So let's say exception E. In this case we can return blank because we don't want to perform any operation to that. Fine. Are we getting any error? No, that's fine. So let's just format a bit. Fine. Okay, so we didn't do much into this, just we are getting this cell. Once we are getting that, we are just checking what kind of type of value. If it is a string, use this method. If it is numeric, you can use the numeric cell value method and just omit the last 2 characters from the value and then return it to me. If it is a blank, just return it, and at the end I'm returning that particular cell value. Okay, so it's simple into that. So, and let's delete all these things because we no longer need these things. Okay, and we are getting certain errors. This is my user defined cell, right? So that's why it is throwing me an error. Okay, so now let's see how we can implement this. Okay, and we can do one more thing here. if we want to know what is my total number of rows, what I can do, I can create public static and I can say int get last row, let's say that. Okay, so here what I can do, I can accept the sheet name or the, I think I don't need, because I can set the value, I mean set the Excel file by using the set Excel file, and then I can return directly by using, why does it is throwing me, okay, so it's asking me to must return a value from here. So what I can do, sh dot get last number row number, fine. So I can create it in case I need to know what is my, I mean how many rows I have data. Okay, so this is basically, now we saw how we can split the Excel read and write operation into the custom methods, and we can, so that we can reutilize or utilize it into a separate class file. Okay, now let's create another method. So let's create another class. Okay, just name it as test case 01 something, and here we can give a main method. Okay, so because we want to run this particular method or the class, right? Okay, so let's delete these things. Okay, so here what we can do, we can utilize this Excel read and write or Excel rw.java file into this. So what I can do, I can extend this particular class. Okay, Excel read and write from the same package, so I don't need to mention my package dot Excel read write, right? Directly I can do that. Now why I am inheriting the same I mean the class, because so that I can use the methods from this class. Okay, so what I can do, so first thing is that I can set the Excel file path. Now where is exactly my cell or the Excel sheet? This is into the same project folder, right? So directly I can say xlsx. Okay, now the sheet name, so here what is my sheet name, that is, because I didn't change anything, right? So it should be sheet 1, and I'm not sure if it is a capital sheet 1 or small, so let's see into the Explorer. Okay, it's the, so to be on the safe side, make it as a copy, and I don't want to save it, and here I can mention that. Okay, so it's throwing me, so let's give some kind of exception here. So initially now I hold the object of that Excel sheet currently. Okay, now here I can see number of rows I have data into that. Now for this we have a method already placed, right? That is my get last row. Okay, so directly I can use this particular method. Okay, so let's run it and see if we are getting the output or not. Okay, so you can see 2 because we have 3 rows. As we discussed, the index starts from 0. Okay, so now I got the, so now what we can do, we can loop it to get the data from the Excel sheet. For that, what we can use, int a equal to 1. We had done in our previous video how we can access the data from the Excel sheet by looping it. So what I can do, I can create number of rows equal to, I can call this particular method from the Excel read and write. Okay, so what I can do, I can give here, okay, and then why it is throwing okay, this is plus plus, right, it's a semicolon, right? Okay, so here what we can do, we can utilize this particular, this should be get, there is a mistake. Okay, I can utilize this particular method here. Okay, so what I can do, I can use the, and it accepts two parameters, right? One is my row number, another is my column number. So column number I know, but row number I might not be knowing how many rows of data I have. So what I can do, for row number I can utilize as I, and then column number will be initially 0. so the same thing I can utilize for to get the data for the second column of the data from here. Now if you notice here, I have given from 1, it means that I will get the data from the second row. So let's make it as 0, and here what I can do to make it more readable, I can create some space here. Okay, so now let's quickly read the data from the Excel sheet and see if we are getting the required data or not. Okay, so you can see this is 2, means I have 3 rows, and first row is username, second column is password. Okay, so here you can see it's 1 2 3. If I would not have used the substring method here, I would have got here as 1 2 3 dot 0. Okay, so let's go to the console. So here it could be 1 2 3 dot 0. Because of that method we are getting the exact value. Fine. Okay, so the same thing, that is, this is an assignment to you. You can utilize the get cell data. So we now got to know how we can utilize the get cell data. So what you can do, you can utilize the set cell data from this Excel RW and use it here. Okay, so you can try yourself and let me know if you're getting any issue for that. Okay, now this is just a simple customized methods. Now when you are going to implement your framework, let's say that you are testing a scenario for a simple scenario which you want to validate the login functionality by using valid credentials and invalid credentials. So what you can do by using this particular what you call the Java file or a custom methods, you can fetch the data and you can utilize into your Selenium scripts to access the data, right? So that's all I had to show today. Have a good day.